Hi guys, I'm Grace.
And I'm Natalie, and this is Sunday Slipstream.
Welcome back to another week. The sun is shining. We're outside. The sun was not shining in Australia, but it's okay. They had a good weekend.
Unless it's Lewis.
Yeah. We have a lot
or Isaac. Or Carlos. or Jack. Some of them had a good weekend.
Yeah, there was highs and there were lows.
There were a lot of lows.
Let's get into it. Okay, first off, where do we want to start? Quali?
Yeah, let's talk about Quali.
Quali was unexpected. I mean, we had Carlos and Alex up in the top 10.
No crazy work.
And I guess, at this point, should it not be unexpected anymore?
It shouldn't be surprising. You saw Carlos's testing scores. You know,
they have money now. They have passion now. James keeps talking about how Carlos's passion to invigorate the team is really bleeding out to everybody.
You can tell Alex is benefiting from Carlos's experience.
Yes, and James has said he's literally having to tell mechanics and people that work there to go home. That's the energy they're having. Everybody's so passionate about the project. So that's awesome to see. And they're the come up child of the paddock. I don't know. I saw a reel and it was I don't know any fan. A lot of fans can sometimes be polarizing. Ferrari fans to McLaren fans, etc., but there doesn't seem to be a fandom that isn't supporting Williams right now. And
I think that's
really
true.
Cute.
Yeah. So. It is cute. Well, I mean, Carlos has been on so many teams too. It's kind of we just have to support all of him no matter what. He's got to be supported no matter what. But I mean, we had a McLaren 1 and 2, and that was really good. That was something that was really exciting. And we did mention, Max said that Red Bull was not going to be top, which was good. And I will say, he still did really well, considering, of course, because he's Max Verstappen. He's actually a really good driver, as much as I hate to admit it.
No, but that's opened up a whole nother discussion that people are talking about of, is the Red Bull car actually a really bad car, and Max Verstappen just overcomes in whatever scenario? Because we see Checo Perez, we see now Liam Lawson. They cannot drive that car. And so it's is it really, are they just bad drivers that they're just picking anyone who's willing to be second?
Or is it the car?
Or is it the car? So it's actually an interesting discussion.
Yeah, so, I mean, we saw that during qualifications, and we also saw that for the actual race. I saw so many people joking that Liam is just Checo. It's such a problem. Poor kid.
You can change the idea if you can change the man or something like that.
Maybe they need to talk to Alex and his monk.
Yeah, literally.
Figure out what's going on. Go to his monk for some prayers. I don't know. At this point, I'm convinced Carlos is his monk. He just goes and prays to Carlos. And is please give us a good race.
Saint Carlos, Saint Maybe he passed that on.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny. But I will say, during the race, I was so excited because we did our points or no points predictions last week, and I said that Lewis would be P10.
Yes, you literally
I was so right. And I said George would be third.
You literally
And I said Jack would crash. I'm not clairvoyant, but it feels like it.
You literally kind of And you said Kimi would, and he almost did. Multiple times.
He was close.
Quali?
I don't think so, no.
Okay, right. He went to almost hit them.
But I don't think he did.
Right.
I think that he did.
Honestly,
I knew that Liam was going to be a DNF.
There was no question about it. The people were okay, honestly though, were there Liam fans? I don't
know if there's Liam fans or if there's just second Red Bull seat fans.
Yeah, that's actually a good way to put
there's so many people who loved Checo just because he was the second Red Bull seat, I swear, because he did not drive to support that.
But the problem is the second Red Bull seat cursed? Because at this point, no one has driven well. You've got Daniel Ricciardo, you've got Alex Albon, you've got now Checo, you've got now Liam. Is it just cursed? Yes, all these people who they were this is going to be a great driver, and they get in that seat, and it's terrible.
I mean, we could say the same thing for the second Ferrari seat at this point, because first of all, Lewis Hamilton, I've said it over and over again, I'm not his fan. Because I don't like his personality, I don't like his attitude, I don't like the way he treats his team. And honestly, the fact that I said he was gonna be where he was, and he was, that was funny to me. But I was actually really mad at how he was treating his engineers during the race. That actually really irritated me. I can't remember who said it. I think it was Martin Brundle said that he was being angsty during it, and I was just like, that's so true. Like, please just let me do it. Just let me do it. Like,
and
okay.
But guess what? They're telling you this because you cannot pass a Williams, and they're probably like, what is going on? How can he not pass a Williams?
Maybe Carlos cursed it.
No, but I don't know. It's getting to the point where it's just like, again, I will say it again because his fans will crucify me, but
let them.
At this point, let them. He was a talented driver in his time. He deserves all of his flowers. He's like been the best in the sport for so long.
But he's driving like Fernando, which is like a rookie.
Exactly, and it's like there has to come a time where it's just like, okay, I feel like you can hang up the towel because you're not. I don't know. You can only like be learning for so long. You can only like. And the memes are getting so funny where it's like they cooked up all this aura in the off season through all the pictures just to come P10, like just to qualify behind a Sauber. And it's like, that is so true. Like, we even called it before this, you did, and you were like, I feel like they're just spending so much time. Like, Lewis is doing his little personality tour. Yeah, that's what he wants to do. He's going on times, he's doing this interview, this photo shoot, and it's like, of course you're more than willing and able to do that, build up your brand, go.
But how much time are you actually testing your car if you're spending all that time on your media tour?
And it's just like, how long are we going to let this be a learning phase? Are we going to let this be
the whole season?
Yeah. No, but I'm serious. Like, his fans, like, they refuse to just admit he could not qualify George last season, barely, and George, love him to death, but he's not even the best of the best.
He's not. And no, I love him so much.
And so he could not qualify George. He can't out-qualify Charles. He got passed by Oscar, who Andrea Stella came back and said that Lando Norris had floor damage from his trip through the gravel, and he still won. So I'm assuming Oscar had the same floor damage.
Probably.
So with the floor damage, he was able to pass Lewis Hamilton. Like, so it's like these people are passing him now, and
imagine coming behind Lance Stroll. I love Lance Stroll. I'm not gonna lie, I'm his biggest fan at this point.
He showed the most emotion I've ever seen from him all weekend.
He was so excited.
Like, he was doing media.
I know, like smiling, like dang.
It was like, wait,
the brows were working.
I was like shocked. I was like, what is going on, Lance? Like,
I don't know, right?
He had a good break, I guess.
He's like, new year, new me.
Yeah. And we love that.
I'm so surprised. Like, I'm actually kind of thinking, like, since he had such rough starts the last few seasons, like, that's why he just gave up.
Maybe, yeah.
But like, a good position in the first race can really set the tone for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
You never know. I mean, he's Lance Stroll though, so he might get bored and just like quit.
You know, he's gonna get bored and be like, I kind of want to go skiing or whatever.
I mean, good for him. Exactly. But I mean, it's really funny to me.
Yeah.
But like, speaking of like hating on the drivers though, like, I'm not understanding the Lando Norris hate.
I don't get it.
I don't get it right now because he did a really good job. Everyone seems to hate him because of his arrogant attitude, but everyone like bumps up Lewis, they bump up Charles Leclerc, they always like praise these people who have the worst personalities, I swear. And then they're like, Lando's kind of egotistical. I'm like, bro won his first race of the season. Let him be happy. And he thanks the engineers at the end anyway.
Exactly. And it's like he's literally just building his confidence. And also, both of the drivers, like, the first thing they're going to do if they mess up is like, I only have myself to blame. Like, that was the first thing Oscar said this race. It's the first thing Lando said. And it's just like, how, I don't get
the comments.
I feel like I'm missing something, like, genuinely.
Like, are we not seeing something?
Yeah, like, why do you guys hate Lando so hard? It's actually crazy work.
It's just kind of weird. Like, why are we picking like one driver to have a vendetta against when we have no reason to? Like, he's a good driver. They won the constructors championship last year. You know, like, it's not like
he doesn't
have reasons to be liked.
Right.
I'm not really sure where the hate's coming
Max
from.
and Lando themselves have gotten over the grain, so like I feel like the fans need to do the same thing too.
I honestly don't even know why that would matter.
Exactly.
How does that apply to the ego comment?
Exactly.
I don't get it.
I don't get it, but I genuinely think that I saw all kinds of comments of like, people in my comment section are like, I put money down that Lando would bottle a star, and I honestly had zero thought that he would do that, like, because he's I think he's gotten so much confidence over break. He has so much confidence in that car. I really don't think people should be underestimating him this season. I think he learned from his mistakes. He's not going to be bottling any more starts. He even put in his Instagram caption. Did you see? He was like, his Instagram caption with the trophy was like, "Good start, A," or something like that. Because he's playing on everyone was making fun of him that he couldn't start, but now he did multiple times because of all the safety cars. So whatever. I mean, I don't know. I just think we can't underestimate McLaren this season.
Oh no, we absolutely cannot.
Haters gonna hate, I guess.
I mean, McLaren's already a good team. We can't like discount that at all. Like Oscar's a really good driver. Lando's a really good driver. The car is a good car, and they do well, and they speak to their engineers very well, and they listen to them very well. Like Lewis Hamilton, and Charles Leclerc. But it's just interesting to me because like,
the whole race.
There's just no reason for there to be like such dislike for the McLaren drivers at all. Like I don't think anyone dislikes Oscar, but I also feel like no one has any feelings about him in general.
Also, yes, I get that.
Like it's kind of like Alex Albon. Like he's there, but he doesn't really do much to shock anyone or really impress anyone.
Oscar actually has a lot of personality. He just shows it often. Like if you see him on Twitter, he's
he absolutely does have a personality. Exactly. He's got very dry humor.
Yes, and I think it just maybe doesn't resonate with everyone.
Which is fine. I mean, whatever.
Let's talk about George because
speaking of contracts. Lando has a shorter contract than Oscar right now with McLaren, but it's almost like they saw Drive to Survive and they were like, snatch him up. They saw Christian Horner wanted him and they were like, no. Zach was like, absolutely not. He called me a prick on Drive to Survive. Absolutely not. But like, speaking of contracts, George is not renewed at Mercedes yet. And like, is it because Toto has another person to love instead of Lewis?
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. That is George's plight, whether it's with Toto's love, whether it's with his own success. I don't know. Like, it's just, the man cracks me up. I mean, his own comments after the race being, yeah, like, I honestly just, like, was waiting for people at the front to mess up. He says that so often, and that always happens to him.
He knows his limits.
And it cracks me up because it's like, that is literally his plight. If there is something to go wrong and there is an award to be given at the fault of someone else, George will be the first in that line.
Yes. Like, he succeeds at the expense of others.
Exactly.
That's just his vibe.
Is Kimi now getting some of that luck? Because that's kind of what happened to him as well.
It's the side curse to Carlos cursing Ferrari.
Exactly. It cracks me up a little bit. And I don't know, just seeing his huge smile, and I feel like he had no idea how he was up on that podium. He was like, I'm here. Wow. What happened back then?
Whoa.
He was like watching the tapes.
How's Lance so close to me? Wait, am I supposed to be up here? I'm really close to Lance Stroll and Nico Hulkenberg. How did this happen?
I know, it cracks me up.
Imagine getting fewer points than Nico Hulkenberg in a Sauber.
No, right?
Iconic.
No, but I don't know, the man cracks me up, and yeah, I feel like in talking about then seriously with his contract, I feel like that's kind of some of the things that Toto's probably going to be considering, where unfortunately more often than not, George is not going to get there on his own. So is that the kind of driver he's going to want to renew? I don't know. Is he going to be left with no choice because he needs somebody to like, mentor Kimi in this weird dynamic they have? I don't know.
Or is he just benching on Kimi at this point because Kimi's a Formula 2 driver who really rose to the ranks and did a really good job? However, he crashed the first 2 times in the kart.
I don't think, I think it's going to be kind of another Ollie Behrman situation where it's like first points, first Formula 1 race, and then the next one he he's going to take him some more time. So it's like, I feel like people are kind of now maybe doting on Kimi a little bit too much. Not that he doesn't deserve it, but the funniest memes to me were the Toto memes after the race, where it's just like, no one is happier than Toto right now. His prodigy out-qualified limits him.
I would be so vibing if I were Toto right now. It's just like, imagine.
The camera cut to him and you can see he was like hiding a smirk. Like he's like Toto smirk with his head.
I know, so
he's like, I know,
funny.
I can't smirk, but
it's hard to say how it's going to go because like George can hold it on his own, but he does reap the benefits of other people failing so much, and I don't know if that's a strategy thing or just his skill level. Because if he's banking on other people failing, that's a really bad strategy. But if he's taking advantage of that, that's a better strategy, and it's hard to determine where he's at. But
I feel like it falls into what you said the other day of some drivers do the most that they can with the car, and some drivers
do what they get.
Exactly, do what the car gives them, and other drivers like go above and beyond. And I feel like George is one of the people who just, you know, he'll do what the car gives him and he'll get there one way or another. But I think in the future of Mercedes, they're gonna want more than that. They're gonna try and live up to the success that Lewis brought them. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
We'll see. I mean, at this point, George has more points than Hamilton too, so.
Exactly.
It's just so funny to me. Like, everyone was banking on Lewis doing so well in a Ferrari, and I'm like, congratulations, he's mid.
Yeah,
like always.
At some point, it's just not about the car, and
it's not.
People are gonna have to start like admitting that.
It's the same as any other sport.
Yeah.
The players are the ones who have to do the work.
Yep.
And clearly, Lewis Hamilton doesn't want to listen to his engineers because he thinks he knows better than the people who literally build the car.
Right, and I think it comes down to like, his engineers were probably like confused, like, why wasn't he using this button or this engine mode? Like, why can he not pass this freaking software? And he's there was one point in the radio, Lewis was like, yeah, I'm just not fast enough or whatever. And it's just like, okay, well,
whose fault is that?
Yeah, exactly. Like,
or like blaming the rain. Yeah, like, they didn't tell me there was gonna be more rain. Yes. And then there's radio recordings of him being like, is there gonna be more rain? And they're like, there's still a little bit. There's not supposed to be a bunch more coming, but there's still some coming down. He was just like, they didn't tell me there was going to be rain. He's like, it's raining out here. Okay, dude, you can see the rain.
Right. Every pit wall dealt with the same amount of rain confusion because no one could 100% confirm.
The weather's unpredictable. Exactly. Shocker.
But Carlos Sainz on the pit wall, strategist king. He made that decision for Alex. Other McLaren made that decision for their team. So it's like everybody had the same convoluted information. It's not that you can't just say, well, I didn't know about the rain. No one really knew for sure. Other people just did better than you did. Like, just admit that.
You just get over it.
Yeah,
honestly.
Exactly.
It's the ego of it all.
It's
like,
for real.
The balloon is gonna burst soon, and I'm really excited for it to be because he can swim into a fight with Charles Leclerc.
It's gonna happen so soon. I can't wait. Feel it.
I literally cannot wait. It's gonna happen at Monaco.
Can you imagine?
I genuinely feel like Charles is going to be busting his tail to win at Monaco, and Hamilton's going to be so moody because he hasn't podiumed yet.
Wait,
that he's going to throw hands. Verbal hands, probably.
No, I could 100%. And it's going to be like passive aggressive as hell.
It's going to be passive aggressive as hell, and he's going to throw a fit, and he's going to somehow speak to Fred and be like, let me be the lead on this, even though it's Charles' home race.
Right, even though I cannot get this car to move any faster. Like, I could 100% see. That's a few weeks away, and I could see that
it's not far.
No, but the thing is like, I think it's going to be the perfect amount of time for tensions to be building.
That's what I'm thinking. Yep, I'm so excited for it. I can't wait to see if I'm right.
I feel like
let's cast bets. Is Natalie going to be right?
Poor Isaac.
Follow us if you agree.
Yeah, exactly. Please let us know in the comments. I know you all will. Poor Isaac's DNF.
Oh my gosh, this poor kid.
Honestly, I expected nothing less, but Helmut Marko needs to, like, please shut up sometimes.
I literally ignore everything he says, so I don't know what he was saying.
He was just basically doubling down on, like, how he's a C-class driver and, like, how he expected it and whatever.
Oh, so he was just being racist again.
But yeah, but my thing is like, you were the one who wanted these, like
you're involved in picking these people.
Yes, you're calling yourself stupid then. Like, you were the one that vied for this seat, so like, you're literally making yourself look dumb then. Like, why did you pick him instead of Daniel Ricciardo then? Like, if you think that he's so bad. Like, it's just like, it's making you look worse.
Watch, it's because Danny didn't want to come back.
Yeah,
so.
Daniel's like, he's like,
Helmut
Marko,
no.
he's vibing with Scotty right now.
Yeah, but no.
He's like, no, thanks. I have better things to do.
I'm good. There were so many DNFs so early in. It was kind of sad. Like, I knew Jack was gonna.
10 laps of that race were just the safety car.
I know, it's like, so bad.
So much of the race actually was the safety car, and it actually brings into question like how it's interesting that Formula One adapts the rule that laps can still tick down under a safety car. That still
irritates me because in most sports, if there's a flag, you can't do anything.
Exactly.
It stops the clock.
Exactly.
So like, why is Formula One different? Why are we losing laps?
Yeah.
In order for there to be a safety car, and like, I get it, the drivers cause a problem when they crash. That's fine. Whatever, it is a safety concern, but an injured player on a football field also causes a safety concern, so we have to stop the clock and make sure everyone's safe. It just doesn't make sense to keep going.
It's just interesting that they still, because even if it wasn't like a full red flag and they had to bring everyone in, even if they still were going around, it shouldn't sometimes I'm like, why is it still ticking down the laps? Because
Right.
it's just like
No one can pass.
Yeah, so it's you're
No
not
one can
even
change
racing.
position.
You're just driving in a circle. Whatever. I guess.
Whatever.
Do what you need to do. But it does bring into question, does McLaren have even more hidden pace than what was shown at this race? Because there were times before the safety cars that both McLarens were over almost 20 seconds ahead of the rest of the pack. Max Verstappen was like floating in La La Land by himself because
As he does.
George couldn't keep up with him and Charles couldn't keep up with him at the time. But both McLarens were eons away from everyone. And how Andre Still, like I said, came out later after the race saying that they both won with significant floor damage because they both went through the gravel. Like, how much more pace does this car have? Like, that's insane. Like
I can't imagine how much we're gonna see in the next few weeks.
Exactly.
Honestly, I'm curious. But so this weekend is a sprint weekend, and I have not been part of the Formula One fandom for very long.
right.
So explain what a sprint race weekend is different and why it's different from like a regular weekend.
The drivers don't like it because it's, I'm assuming, a very stressful weekend, but it's fun for the fans because it's back-to-back-to-back racing. So instead of nothing happening on Friday besides free practice, you have and Saturday, you have sprint qualifying sprint race that Friday afternoon. And so sprint is just half the distance of the race distance, and sprint, only the top 8 get points, and it starts, the driver that's number 1 gets 8 points, and then it goes down from there. So number 8 driver only gets 1 point. And yeah, sprint qualifying is kind of like bragging rights, but of course the real race is then on Sunday.
So they're basically doing 1.5 times the work.
Exactly.
Just to earn a few extra points.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's just really more spectacle for fans. Is why they do it.
Who's gonna be fastest?
Exactly. So people are wondering, are McLaren going to scoop up both races because of all the pace they definitely have? There's now more drama about the back wing, the mini DRS they're calling it. I don't know if it was Red Bull again complaining. Either
Wouldn't be
way,
surprising. They already complained about Ferrari before the first race.
Right. Red Bull just loves to like kick
They love to
everyone when they're down. But basically they're really cracking down on the limits of what that's gonna look like. So people are like, oh, is McLaren suddenly gonna disappear with pace because of that? I promise you their pace is not coming from that. I mean, I'm sure it affects it in a way, but I think they're going to be just fine whether or not they have that. But anyway, it's going to be interesting.
Do you want to predict the points for the sprint? And then we'll do our points or no points at the end for the regular race.
So, top 8 for the sprint.
I think Norris and Piastri are going to be 1 and 2.
Yeah. I almost see Oscar being 1 just because he's going to be pissed about this.
Not getting the position he wanted.
Yeah,
and
team orders,
to be honest.
Team orders that were happening at McLaren. McLaren isn't exactly quieting any doubts from last season or quieting any of that chatter from last season about team orders, since when Piastri was definitely outpacing Lando at that certain point in the race. The team said he couldn't pass them. The team came back later and said that it was just because they were in traffic. They didn't want to pass them to like slow each other down in traffic, which I do get. But it's gotta be frustrating for Oscar.
Absolutely.
And the way he's like so like confident too. He came out on the radio. He's like, I'm faster, but okay. And then he was like, I don't need to tell you my lap time. So I was like, okay, go off, King. Like,
everyone was so sassy on the radio this time. And it's funny because like I was worried that the radios were going to be a lot more quiet because of how the swearing fines are.
Apparently they took that back. Apparently they can. Well, they're gonna mute it, but they're not gonna get fined on the radio. It's, I guess, just in media. I just saw that today.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I hope that's true.
Yeah.
But I was curious because like I was afraid that they were just gonna be kind of boring,
right, and be like petty
because they can't talk as they normally speak. You know, like whatever. But I mean.
Yeah.
That was curious, but everyone was sassy.
They literally were like, Charles was having a meltdown about his water.
I know. But we'll get to that.
Yeah. Okay,
Let's do our top 8
sorry.
for the sprint.
Okay.
So I think Norris and Piastri for sure for the top 2 points. I don't know who's going to be who, but McLaren has good pace.
Right.
I think because he didn't get to finish the race, I'm going to say Carlos.
Okay.
Then I would say for 4, I would say probably Charles Leclerc.
Okay.
Because I do think he's going to be pissed too.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be a motivator for him.
He's like his vibe right now is just generally grumpy.
I know, he's just so mad. Yeah. It's kind of funny.
Ferrari always does this to him, and he
stereotypical French boy. Always mad. I think, so 5th, I think, is probably gonna be George, because he's gonna be riding that high.
He always is.
He's always riding that winning high.
For way too long.
I know, right? He never lets it go.
Yeah.
For 6th, I would say, I'm trying to think of who I think is going to do well because of the last race, because of the motivations that they're going to have.
Yeah.
I think Alex Albon's going to get
I could
6th,
see that.
because he's going to be on that
and
high
that car
again.
has pace.
It has good pace, yeah. I mean, they're listening to their engineers, and their engineers are listening to them.
Right. They're developing that car.
7th, wildcard Lance Stroll.
You think he's gonna do it too?
I'm proud of him so far.
I'd love to see it.
I'm a Lance Stroll fan now. I'm gonna have to get a sticker for him on my cup. And then 8th for me, I'm gonna say, oh no, I want to see Nico up there again. I just do. I just think he deserves it.
He does,
I want his daughter to be proud.
Oh, he literally does deserve it. It's been way too long.
I know, poor man.
He was so happy on his media after the race.
So
I was like,
He was so excited.
My
okay,
top
you're top 8.
I think Piastri's going to steal up from Norris, but I think Norris is going to win the actual race again. But anyway, Piastri, Norris, realistically probably Max.
I've forgotten about him, I'm not gonna lie.
It's fine. He's
Max.
Kind of, yeah. He'll slither in there sometime. I see George. 4th, Charles. 6th, I see Carlos getting himself there. 7th, if mistakes don't happen again, maybe another Yuki 7th. And then 8th, Lewis.
Confident. I think he's gonna be so pissed that he's not gonna do well.
Yeah, you're right.
I think his ego's gonna screw him over again.
Yeah, you're right.
But I mean, he had a meltdown. It's fine. Charles had a meltdown, and I still gave him the option to get points in the sprint. But their meltdowns were funny to me.
Charles is always
he's so sassy. He's like, I have a sea full of water, and they're like, yeah, that's probably the water. Yeah.
It brought me back to in Vegas when he was like maybe trying to spin.
I know.
He's so sassy. He's literally a diva.
No, I have the I am stupid.
I love it. I love him in a love-hate way. I'm not a Charles fan, but I'm not a Charles hater.
Yeah, I'm a certified Lewis hater, but I'm not a Charles hater.
Exactly.
I'm gonna get that stamped. I'm gonna get tattooed. Lewis Hamilton hater.
I really I feel nothing negative nor particularally positive about Charles. He just love the guy.
I feel like when he wins, he deserves it.
Yes,
that's really my limit for him.
Yes.
If he loses, it's because he didn't do well, and if he wins, it's because he did.
That's actually
he's just a generic sports person.
Right.
To me.
That's actually my exact way of viewing Charles Leclerc, and I know people love him.
I know, but I genuinely feel like Lewis is just going to continue to screw him over because he built up his ego in this image for this season so high.
That's literally
that
all
he's just going to crash.
The Mafia Coven pictures.
Maybe not physically crash, but he's going to crash.
I think so too, and I honestly think Lewis is at the point of maybe the midlife crisis where he doesn't even recognize that he might be the problem.
He's a regular 41-year-old.
Right. He's not even hit the benchmark of wait, maybe I am slowing down. He still is at the benchmark of wait, why isn't this working?
Fernando's literally just there vibing, and he's just I'm here because I enjoy the sport. If they're not gonna get rid of me, I'm gonna stay. And Lewis Hamilton's just I've been in it for so long that they can't get rid of me.
Yeah.
Gives Donald Trump. Same vibes. I'm the best. Everyone knows I'm the best.
Literally, wait, because you're so right, because Fernando, again, he excellent in his day, but I feel like Fernando has accepted he
might not ever win again.
Yeah,
and he knows that.
Exactly, but Lewis is still on the maybe he's a little delusional, and that's okay.
I'm delusional too, but I admit it.
Exactly.
I'm sitting here Carlos is getting podiums every single week. He's on all of my fantasy teams.
It's okay, Charles. But then Charles, though, has that determination where he could pull it out on the odd weekend. If it wasn't for the torque surge that they had, I believe he would have been up in the points along with Alex. So.
Oh yeah, Carlos could definitely
Do we think Carlos is gonna have a side career as a strategist?
I don't know. He's gonna be busy being president of the GDPA.
Right? He's gonna deal with.
He's a little busy right now. He's monitoring the group chat to make sure George and Max don't fight.
He's all monitoring. I'm surprised.
He's gonna be like, maybe try in Spanish.
Yeah,
he probably renamed the group chat.
I hope he brings back Petty just for Charles.
I hope so. It'd be funny.
I'm surprised, like with all the Lando hate that people jump on. I'm surprised that people didn't catch the clip in the driver's
debrief.
Yes, thank you. I couldn't think of the D word in the driver's.
The D word.
Yes, exactly.
That's what she said.
No, I couldn't think of the word. But yeah, in the driver's debrief, when George asked Lando, I'll put a clip over this. But George asked Lando, he was like, "Oh, he was faster than you during this, wasn't he?" or something like that. And Oscar was, and Lando was like, I think Lando said, no, he was just like behind me or something like that. Like in a
he said something
way.
really sassy. Yeah.
And the two of them like laughed about it. I'm surprised that people haven't like attacked him for hate.
I feel like that's why people are hating on Lando because of that comment. The
errant comments that he makes. I think they're warranted. I think they're kind of funny. I don't know.
I mean, I think it was just like because George was obviously trying to dig at him a little bit.
Yeah, George loves to start things though. You know,
he's a drama queen.
Did you see the way George was like, he was faster than you during this? Was like,
I love how he's just like, he's faster than you, right?
yeah. And like what?
And Lando's just like, no, I'm the one who won.
Yeah, exactly.
And Max is just sitting there like, why do I have to be between these two? just
he's
like, I'm done. It's so funny. But speaking of Max, do we think he's going to be world champion again?
I'm going to say I haven't seen enough, but I'm going to make Monaco my benchmark.
Monaco, okay.
Just like you're making it your benchmark for the
for the Ferrari Fallout.
Yeah, such the Ferrari Fallout. Let's like literally tag that.
I'm going to do it. That's the new hashtag.
Ferrari Fallout. I'm going to wait till Monaco to see what I'm feeling. If it's just
it's a few weeks in, it's far enough in to determine like where people are sitting.
Right, they can adjust their car. Maybe Red Bull can. Maybe it's gonna have more pace than they think.
We'll see how
the street circuits. Oof, I don't have any faith. It's gonna be another thing this year. Constructors are 100% okay. 90% right now. Again, haven't seen enough. I think another constructors is going McLaren's way, but the world drivers, of course, is still up in the air.
Imagine if Williams wins.
That's insane. They deserve it.
I would appreciate it.
You know, crazier things have happened. We've seen last season.
I mean, it was what 30 years since McLaren won. Right. It's been about 30 years since Williams won.
Yeah.
So it's.
And
repeat history
about
here.
That time for Ferrari, but
Ferrari doesn't count. We don't love Ferrari. I hate that like everyone's a Ferrari fan because I'm actually not.
I'm
actually the biggest hater.
Yeah, I don't really care. Like again, it's kind of like
I literally don't care.
I liked Ferrari because Carlos and Charles were like good on it. I like Charles. I liked Carlos. Good. Yeah, but I don't necessarily care about Ferrari as a team.
No, me neither.
I think honestly a lot of young people in the sport are going McLaren's way.
I was literally trying to tell someone earlier all the teams on the grid, and I completely forgot Ferrari. I was just wait,
those people.
What's the 10th one? I'm just Ferrari, the one that I have the most hate for right now.
It's fine.
I blocked it out of my brain because of the hate.
I don't know. I think they're really just going to continue to dismantle themselves, and it will be interesting. But yeah, we'll Monaco, #Ferrari Fallout, question mark.
Yeah, I love that. Let's see. But I don't know, because I feel like if Lando wins the world championship this year, it's going to be weird.
Yeah.
Not bad weird, just weird. Because everyone's accustomed to Max at this point.
And this is a thing that I saw the other day. Fun fact, if you didn't know, I know we have a lot of new fans on Pod, but the number one that Max has, the number one can only go to a world champion driver the following year.
Oh, okay.
So that's why Max, who was number 33, is now number one. And I was just thinking, it's gonna be so weird if number one is on the hood of someone else's car.
It's gonna be weird.
What if it's Ellen one? How is he gonna do that? Lando's gonna have to rebrand.
He's gonna have to recreate his signature.
Yeah, I mean they don't have to take that number, but they have the opportunity to if they
right. But why wouldn't you?
Exactly.
I would.
Rights. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, yeah, it's things might look different. I feel like Max might have a little bit of a meltdown.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I feel like if he didn't win, I feel like I could see him just being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be a dad now, for sure, and disappear.
Points or no points with little to no explanation. All right, so McLaren, we have Piastri. Points or no points?
Points.
Norris.
Points.
I would say points for both of them, for
I
sure.
would see, like I said in the beginning, I see Piastri winning the sprint, Norris winning Sunday's race.
Okay. For Mercedes, Russell. I'm saying points.
Points.
I will always say points for
He'll
George.
sneakily find a way.
I love George.
Yeah.
He's my favorite.
He'll slime his way in there and be so confused as to how he happened upon the top step.
Speaking of being confused, Antonelli.
Yeah,
I don't know if I would give him points.
I don't see it happening 2 weeks in a row. It was kind of, again, a George incident where it's like other people
He took
crashed
advantage of it.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
I see him being consistent. I don't see a crash. I
would
just
see
see
him,
nothing happening.
like, not last.
Yeah.
Like, I could see him maybe, like, 12th.
Yeah, I definitely see him comfortably.
Like,
12.
I see him, like, a comfortable 12 or 11.
Yeah.
For Williams, Alex Albon.
Maybe.
I'm going to say no points for this one. Because I think he's going to do well during the sprint, but I think that's going to drain him.
Yeah.
Like, the prayers from his monks are going to need a top off first.
He's doing up a shaman after the sprint.
Stop.
I see Carlos getting in the points.
Carlos for sure points.
Just because a little redemption from last week. But I see like maybe 8th or something. But it's still going to be good for Williams.
Imagine being 3 points less than Aston Martin. My bad. Okay, for Aston Martin, Stroll.
I'm not
going to say
again,
points again. I would love for him to get in the points again because I do want him to kind of like see this good position and kind of like light a fire under it and just go with it. But for Alonso, definitely no points.
Lance's sweet spot is like P14. I see him hanging out there again.
He starts at P20 almost every time. P19.
Yeah.
If he's not last, Fernando usually is. No offense, my dudes. Fernando's just there for the vibes. Like, he's not here for points, but he's gaining aura points.
Like, I can't get rid of me. He doesn't want to go home. I feel like that's what it is.
No race points, but aura points obtained. Okay, for Kick Sauber, Hulkenberg.
No points.
I would like to see him get points.
I would like to see it happen again. I just don't see it happening without others' demise.
I would see 10 maybe at the like highest for him.
Okay. They
I'm not saying
have
no.
pace.
I mean,
they
Kick Sauber has improved their car. Yeah, they've got one more point than Ferrari right now.
Yeah.
They're placed higher on the standings than
Exactly.
Bortoletto, poor kid.
Yeah.
I want him to do well, but he doesn't really, like, he hasn't shown me anything to make me want him to do well.
Yeah, he doesn't have the equipment. The only reason I'd want him to do well is to just spite Helmut Marko. But I see him, like, P17. Like, I don't see any, like,
I don't
drama.
see points, but I don't see him, like, super low. I don't
Yeah.
see him last.
I see him making a good pass, people talking about it, but it's still being insignificant.
Yeah. All right, for Ferrari, Leclerc.
Points.
Definitely points. I think he's going to be
I give
motivated.
another P5. I give him P5 tops, honestly.
P5?
Yeah.
I don't know what China Circuit looks like personally, so... Yes, thank you.
Think of a 1, almost.
Okay, perfect. I can visualize a 1.
Okay, yeah. A 1 with a tail and a thing.
With the tail. Okay. A serif?
Yeah.
No, I mean, I would see... I definitely points for him, but I think between 5 and 7.
Okay, yeah.
Somewhere
I
in
see
there
that
for
too.
him. Hamilton, I'm going to say no points because I think he's going to be jacked.
Yeah, you're right.
I think he's going to let his ego get the better of him.
Yeah.
And I think he's going to try to push too hard during the sprint.
And
And then he's going to fall flat in the race. Because he's going to blame himself on being tired from the sprint.
Right. Well, I mean, the fact that the engineers were, like, publicly, like, crashing out, having to tell him what buttons to press, and he was like, I can handle. Well, obviously you can't because they wouldn't be in your horn.
Exactly.
Whatever. But yeah,
Yeah. Alpine, Pierre Gasly.
No
points. I'm saying
but
no
it's
on
gonna
that
be
one.
like insignificant. Like
he might be like 13.
yeah. Like I think it's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Jack.
Crash.
This poor kid. I think he's gonna crash every race until his contract's up. His short contract.
They're
gonna have no car left for Franco to drive when they take over.
Did you see Franco in the comments of Alex's post? He was like, "Great job, mate," or something like that. I was like, "No."
Sweet
but yeah, Franco is like keeping his name out there. He's like,
absolutely. He's just like, I'm here for Alpine.
Gone but not forgotten.
Racing Bulls, Isaac. I want him to do better.
Yeah.
I want him to do well, but I think he's gonna be like 19.
I see P15.
Really?
but just because the Saubers, I think, will be taking it for the Max.
See, I don't see that.
Okay.
I really don't.
Yeah.
I would hate for him to DNF again, though.
Yeah.
I would feel so bad for him.
Yeah, I want him to
No one needs that much attention from Helmut Marko.
Yeah, exactly. Just get Helmut off his back and, like, he can have a day.
Poor kid. And then Yuki.
No points, but, like, they had pace, though. They managed to get, what was it, P5? If he gets in points, I see P9, P10. I think he'll be maybe in points in the sprint.
Maybe. I think I skipped Red Bull.
Again.
I keep forgetting them. So we'll talk about Max Verstappen. Definitely points.
Liam, no points.
Liam, I think he's going to DNF.
I 100% do not see that. Like,
I don't think it's going to last.
I 100% do not see anything good.
They're going to be calling Daniel Ricciardo and be like, please come back.
We're like, please.
Please. SOS.
Yeah.
They're going to call Alpine and be like, can we have your reserve driver? Please.
And after that public embarrassment, though, I hope Danny stands up for himself. But there's just no way. Like, I think Liam, we said it before, I think he's just, like, maybe a little too confident. Like, there's a new, somebody I know who's, like, recently getting into F1 and whatever, and she was like, who's this new guy at Red Bull? I was like, oh, that's Liam. She's like, I don't like him. He just feels, like, cocky and, like, whatever. I was like, trust me, no one's really, like,
too big for his britches, for
like,
sure.
Of course,
he's
you have
trying
to,
to like
cocky
emulate Hamilton.
Yeah, like, it's like he's trying to be Hamilton. He's trying to be Max without that, like, history.
Without
give
history
it time.
To back it up.
Like, yeah. You're allowed to act like that
like
when
you're allowed with no substance.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then for Haas we have Ocon. I'd say points for him. I think he's like actually really motivated this season.
I see P11.
It's not bad. I would say 10 probably for him.
Okay.
Like if he gets into the points, it's gonna be the least amount of points.
Yeah, but like still, he gets there.
And then Ollie Bierman, poor kid. I hope he succeeds.
Yes.
But he's not gonna get points. In my opinion.
I see him doing a clean race, but like nothing coming.
Yeah. I think he's probably gonna be really low. Honestly, but I think he's gonna finish.
Yeah, and people will be like, oh, like he did things.
He's just like a sweet cinnamon roll boy.
Yeah.
Honestly, he just looks so sweet.
Yeah.
No, I feel like this race is gonna be just another one of those where we're just gonna see what happens, and like our predictions are gonna get more clear as the season goes on. I think we're gonna be able to tell more from like what they did in the most recent race to determine where they're gonna position.
I think we could see maybe the middle of the pack shuffling every week.
Yeah,
but we'll see.
I think that like last season was so silly and goofy because it was just kind of wild. It was kind of a wild card season. Everything that could go wrong went wrong, you know. But I think this season they're all gonna kind of like bunker down, like that they are going to hunker down on what they are motivated to do.
People have longer contracts, like they're getting
settled. Like Oscar's gonna be motivated with that longer contract for sure, you know. But like, I don't know. I feel like this season's gonna be a little more serious. It's gonna feel more like, instead of it being like goofy billionaires just driving fancy cars or whatever, it's going to feel like people who are earning their paychecks almost.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
I think I see that too. It's like they're vying for a place, like they're building kind of their legacy within their team. Because I think, like I just said,
like George doesn't want to be dropped.
Right.
You know, I wouldn't want to be dropped.
That's gonna be a big question mark this season because I, again, love the personality. A lot of people don't anymore, but whatever. I
love his personality because I think he's just not being like a shy British boy anymore. I think he's just being sassy.
Yeah,
which
I don't think there's anything wrong with
I think I told you that whenever you were like, I love George's like personality, I was just like, it's just in his nature. He's British. He's got dry humor. That's just how it is. Like he gives me. You've probably never seen it, but for anyone who has watched Doctor Who, the 9th Doctor yes, they regenerate. So Christopher Eccleston, who was the 9th Doctor, had like this really dry, really sarcastic sense of humor, and like one of his companions had like the same sense of humor. Her name was Donna. She was great. For anyone who's a fan of Doctor Who, they'll get this. But George has very similar humor to Christopher Eccleston, where it's very dry, very sarcastic, but also very humorous, and he finds himself funny. So it's kind of like the vibe I get.
T.
Yeah, you'll have to look into it.
I will. I don't have any problem.
Like it.
I feel like, is that the... I'm not gonna remember his name, but yeah, I'll look into it. I don't have any problem with George, like, whatever.
I like it.
But I do think that's gonna be a question mark because I do think with all of his personality, all of his standing up to Max, he is not necessarily the driver that's gonna score you points on a bad day. So
yeah. I feel like the way I would describe this season, like last season was the Kardashians and this season is Hell's Kitchen. That's just kind of how it feels.
That's actually so funny.
Like that's just the vibe I get. Like Drive to Survive might be really boring next year.
I kind of get that because it's like people putting their heads down. They're just trying to
they're just focused. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. But I guess we'll wait and see. We'll be here for you with updates all season long.
Yep.
So tune in on the next episode. We're available on all platforms, as you know.
Instagram, TikTok. We don't have a Facebook because we're not ancient.
Yeah.
We're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and YouTube. So follow us wherever you can. We'd really appreciate it. Share our stuff. We're kind of funny, and we're basic American girls, so we know nothing.
Exactly. See you
guys.
Bye.